In this video, I am going to show how we can create a quest indicator such as in WoW, and I will also add the code to make it spin. Let's get started. We'll start with Blender. We do not need the default cube, so we'll go ahead and delete it by just pressing the delete key on the keyboard. And now we want to go ahead and select text so that we can just place some text. So that's Shift A and go down to text, and it will just put up default text. I will hold down the middle scroll button to scroll around and then zoom in so I can see it a little bit better. What we want to do now is make this 3D. It's just a flat text. So what we want to do is we want to extrude this, but we can't go into normal extrude mode like we would go to object and then go to edit. All that's going to do is fix it so that you can edit the text. You can either go through object and go to edit, or you can hit your tab key. But by doing so, you notice that it puts that cursor per se at the end of the T, just like you would be typing a program, and then you just hit the backspace to delete it. And in my case, I'll go ahead and press the question mark, and that gives me a question mark. However, I do not care for this font that much. We'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. And what we want to do is change the font now. We are in object mode, so if we go over to the little A button on this menu to the right, and I will go ahead and press on the A, and I'll go ahead and collapse these back up so that it looks like when you first open it up. Excuse me. And if you go to font, and in this very first little drop down arrow right here, if you click on it, that is the font that's being used currently. Any fonts that you have will be listed here. We want to change the font to something better, in my opinion. Click this little folder icon, and since I'm running Windows, we'll click on Windows, and then I'll go to Fonts. And that will give me all the available fonts that are within the Windows. If you're using Linux or Mac, maybe in a different directory somewhere. I think I'll just go ahead and select Arial. It's a pretty standard font, and that will give me more of a question mark of what I'm looking for, and this is what it will look like under the Arial font. If I want to go back to the other font, I can just go back and click on the little down arrow. Now I have both fonts available. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at Arial. I like the question mark a lot better at this point, and I'll go ahead and collapse this down. Now here again, this is just a flat question mark. What we need to do is to extrude this up so that we have a 3D object. To do that, we will go to Geometry and click on that. And if you notice, now we have an Extrude button. And by just clicking and holding that down and sliding the mouse over, now I've extruded the question mark upwards. Zoom in a little bit. Now it's got sharp edges, so what I want to do is put a bevel on it. Got to be real careful with this, because if you overdo it too much, you'll get some really ballooned out text, as you can tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this at, I think 1 should be plenty for what I'm looking for. Yeah, that looks good. So what we have now is we have the question mark that we want to use for our quest indicator. What I need to do now then, I need to rotate this up because it's laying flat. I need to get it up, pointing up and down, so that when we bring it into Unity, it will be on the correct axis. To do that, I'll press R for rotate, then X, and then 90, and hit return on the keyboard, and that will stand it up the way I want it to. When I go up and select the move indicator right here, now you'll see that my axis is correct. I've got it pointing straight up, is which the way I want it. However, the center is not over the period point of the question mark, and I need to move that over. So what I'll do at this point is I'll go back over to my right menu, and not this one. I need paragraph, I believe it is. Yeah. Close that. And here what we want to do is we want to change this to center. And now I've got the center rotation mark and origin right in where I need it, right in that middle of that period part, circle part of the question mark. Ready to export now, and we'll go down to export, and we want to go to FBX because that's what Unity is looking for. Make sure that we do go down and select only selected. I'll change the name to something easy, Quest, and then we want to make sure that we select this checkbox, because if we don't, it's going to also export the camera and any other things that are in this object. But we just want the object itself, so we'll just click on select export selected, and that will give me exactly what we want. Now we go over to Unity, bring it in. Just a blank scene, nothing here. And what we'll do is I save this to my desktop. I'll just minimize this real quick and I'll just drag it in, put it in this blank folder. There it is. Expand this back out, drag it into my scene. And there's my question mark. Or in this case, my quest indicator. I also want to, just for the heck of it, let's put a material on it. So I'll just right click, do create material. Then I'll just name it yellow. I think I'll just make it yellow. That'll do. Then just drag it and drop it on there. So now I have a yellow question mark. And there's my quest indicator. Now here is a short script in order to make the question mark spin. And I'll just spin this around the y-axis. Very simple. Just pause the video if you want to and write this. Very simple. A couple of lines of code and it's done. And what that will do is just spin it around. Also give you the options over the inspector so that you can change the speed of how fast you want it to rotate. So we'll just let that compile, drag it over here, put a speed in here. And we'll hit play and we'll see the question mark or our quest indicator. It'll start spinning. That's a little too fast, so we'll go back over here and we'll slow it down just a little bit. We'll change this to 100. Still maybe a little fast, so if we knock it down to 50, that will probably be about right for what I'm looking for. Yeah, that'll do it. So there you have it. Nice and simple way to make your own quest indicator using Blender. Export it out, bring it on in, and you can use this with any type of indicator that you want, or any other kind of symbol. Anything that's available on your keyboard you can use to do it with. In this case, I just brought in a $ and an exclamation point or a bang symbol, and that's just how easy it is. Each one has its own rotating speed. In my next video, I'll also go over how to make it go up and down and spin at the same time, or you can do it individually. But I'll bring that up into another video. This one's getting long enough. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I would love any comments. And this is what it would look like in game. Thank you again for taking the time to watch this, and please leave any comments and subscribe below.